What do you know about your workplace that you are not supposed to know? Not a current job but at a past job. My manager quit and the CEO gave me access to his emails so I could find information about how to do projects he only knew about. I started looking for all the salary information from all the co-workers on my team. Found out I was being paid significantly less than the person who previously had my position. I went and negotiated about a 40% raise with the CEO based on that information. How smooth was that conversation? I didn't tell him that I knew about the salary stuff. The manager left right when I was due for a raise anyway. Plus with his departure, I took over a lot of work but was not made manager. I started about 25% higher than I thought I was going to get. He told me he couldn't go that high obviously and we settled on an amount about 10% higher than I thought I was going to get. So I was pretty happy with it overall. That company was terrible to work for and our department wasn't valued at all purchasing and transportation. I paid for myself every year with what I saved the company. They paid dock workers more than me even with the raise and I was handling over $1 million in capital on a monthly basis. I ended up leaving about 6 months later when I was passed up for the management position where I was told I wasn't experienced enough and he promoted someone who was less experienced than me to the position. That at my zero tolerance workplace the CEO's executive assistant and the head of HR do coke on weekends together. So I know when they're not going out that weekend there'll be a workplace test the end of the next week. That's really effing convenient for some. Bazinga. We had some entry-level moron do this with some code once. He was given a work assignment to write a program for a project and once he was finished the work held the code hostage and started demanding more money if that company wanted to see his intellectual property. They canned his butt and had some interns finish his work. The reason my boss won't replace the aging fleet of company cars for people below him is because he wasn't allowed to get the car he wanted and now he's pouting and nobody is getting new cars. A Jeep Patriot isn't supposed to live to 200,000 miles. Once instead of receiving my paycheck, I received a file containing every paycheck of everybody in the company. Thus, I knew how much money everybody was making, what benefits they had, etc., including the CEO and high management. And he is now writing this from his yacht somewhere off the coast of Taiwan. Edit. For the people wondering why Taiwan, it's because Taiwan has no current extradition treaties with the US. Casino worker. There are a disturbing amount of self-inflicted deaths that happen on property. Almost none are reported to the public. Look behind toilets often and you'll find yeet spoons. Watch the table games on Friday and Saturday nights. By week 4, you should be able to locate the hookers and johns 10+ years and don't miss an effing thing. I'm localized into poker now. Couldn't do the pits for more than 4 years. The admin password for our laptops. The IT guy from 4 years ago never changed it. My boss stores beer in the server room because the temperature is always kept cool. Now that is genius. Is that for the team or just the boss? There is a beer crate in his office that's supposedly for the team but alas it's always empty haha. The boss self-pleasures himself to weird stuff sometimes at his desk and almost always takes a nap after lunch. I've also seen him drinking beer for breakfast. Edit. Guys, it's me. I'm the boss. The bedbugs in the hotel beds are not isolated to one room anymore. Scariest thing in this thread. Happens a lot. In cheaper places especially. I worked in hospitality at different levels and it's always the owner who ends up stopping any action on things like this. If they have an emergency fund they can shut the entire floor building down for a few days to fix it but it usually requires new mattresses, sheets, etc. It's very pricey. If it's big name brand then franchises can be pulled and all sorts of wacky shoot. We took any reports of bedbugs very seriously. In Texas it's required to have a giant, multilingual set of posters up the employees can see with detailed pictures. All of the guest complaints I had on them were false. Luckily people think seeing a cricket or water roach equals bedbug infestation but it makes everyone tense up. Old job. Those shiny new fume hoods and laminar flow cabinets didn't actually have working vents. That seems like something the government should hear about. Those things aren't just for decoration. At a place that I used to work I was the only person with any IT smarts. I set up the spam filter to forward to my inbox any maybe emails that it caught, which I would then look at and forward on if they weren't spam. On 2 occasions I was forwarded an email receipt for Viagra which one of my colleagues had purchased with his work email address. I just deleted them rather than forward on because it's just easier that way. I bet he works hard. Only one of the security cameras actually works. The rest are for show. Also, at a credit union I worked at, I knew both halves of the combination to the vault. Those security cameras did work for sure though. I work in security CCTV. You'd be surprised how many dummy cameras and intruder alarms we sell. I work in education. My former chairman allowed a female employee to embezzle money from the school. I found out and blew the whistle. I assumed the woman would be fired and the chair would be demoted. Instead, the woman was asked to quit and given a package, and the chair stayed in his position because of his status as a coach. He proceeded to make my job very difficult for the next 5 years until he gave up the chairmanship to someone competent. The woman was his work wife and mistress, who also used to be his student at our school. This gets wilder with every line. My office purposely messes up people's wages to see if A, they're honest about receiving extra, or B, they can save money by not paying it all. It's such a scum thing to do, just glad it never happened to me. That must be illegal, at least I hope it is. I received too much at my first real job and that was my first real paycheck. Didn't really notice. Thought it was something with before and after taxes. After 2-3 months I caught on that this wasn't supposed to be this high. Reported it and they allowed me to keep the money already received and gave me an official raise in order to avoid having to lower my pay. That was generous of them. My boss was sleeping with HR head and they're both married not to each other. Reported to HR. Oh wait. Which makes me wonder, what would happen if this went sour? I've seen it happen a few times. In one instance, the wife of said guy came storming into the building looking for the other woman, caused a huge scene and both employees were fired immediately. They both separated from their partners and didn't end up together. The CEO does coke before public speaking. Regular, diet, or zero? Diet by the looks of it. The reason there's high turnover is because management fired the one competent manager for being too kind. Don't you hate this? Why do so many establishments have to be total schlongs to their employees for no reason? Like if you have a family emergency and get someone else to cover your shift, but they won't hear of it and demand you come into work even though you secured coverage already. I worked for Shoe Carnival for about 3 weeks in high school. Besides the countless pointless rules they had, I left because I tried swapping a shift with a co-worker because he wanted Thanksgiving off to visit with his family, and I didn't want to work Black Friday, and even though we gave plenty of notice, they said no, without reason. So, I just didn't show up at 3 AM or whatever it was for those a-holes. From my last job. Under no circumstances are you even to look at what's going on in the other half of the plant. What was going on? They were building an automated side. Got replaced by a robot a year later. They're slowly replacing machines at the factory I work at with automatic machines. They take up more room currently but do the same work as 4 machines in one, and use 1/6 the people. This factory can't keep people because society is changing and nobody wants to work 12-hour shifts 2 days 1 week. 5 the next, rotating. I'm less than a month away from quitting and I can't effing wait. The pay is the only thing that would keep me but it's literally making me suicidal. My dad retired from there and my mom still works there, and like other people say in the plant, I'm not gonna be a lifer. I know the key code to a storeroom I'm not really supposed to. I use it for naps. I was going to say the exact same thing. Who are hidden naps? There is a guy in my building who uses my office as a secret napping spot. I have a 3-foot space between my cubicle wall and the real wall I use for storage. He wheels a rookie chair back there and falls asleep. I don't have the heart to tell him he snores, so I just put on my headphones and let the dude nap. He works like 16 hours days for 3 days and then is gone for a week. But I remember working 16 hours too and wanted a nap. So he can have it. Everyone's passwords. We store them in clear text. It's horrifying. Edit. It's not seeing the passwords themselves that is awful, you donkeys. It's the fact that it's a security time bomb. When requesting a new key code to the alarm at a previous job, I was forwarded the entire list with everyone's code, including the backup key code for the lock. I'm pretty sure I could walk in at night, key in the CEO's key, and walk out with literally everything of value. My boss has been banging the secretary, who is married, for years, and it's a secret that the secretary's first kid, 14 years old, is my boss' biological child. My boss is also married with kids. This shoot is so terrible. How can these people live with themselves? Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to Reddit Nation for more juicy Reddit content and check out our second channel. We upload a new video like this every day on both channels. See you soon.